Alright, hopefully my mic is good. I kind of checked it. Alright, so let's go over first why we were bearish. So, let's look. Obviously, high time frame, we're accumulating, okay? We're just in this tight range. Just in this tight range. Um, and then Wednesday, on the 4 hour, we edged this high once and then twice. So, in my opinion, and from my discretion and intuition, that's usually just an indicator that we're going to leave those highs later and come down and take like previous month low, which is obviously where we're moving, going in even tomorrow, which is Friday. So that was just like a sign. Um, and then let's drop down a 15-minute. Wednesday we had daily cycle, and then we had this this large expansionary move. So I kind of knew that we'd return to these highs later, which was why I was more bearish than bullish. And the fact that we had previous month low below, which would be a nice rebalance, and then continuation the rest of the year. So that's something to keep in mind. And then let's go into Asia session. So Asia session was right around here. I'll even go and replay. Let's go like right there. So we have this 4 hour SMTF above. PD arrays don't matter that much, but it's kind of important for structure. And then we did have let's check YM. I think we had monthly cycle at the lows, yeah. So that was something to keep in mind, although it didn't matter too much because I was still more bearish than bullish short term. But yeah, let's go over this trade. So this was an Asia session trade, 4 hour SMTF. Let's drop down. So this was Asia open right here at 18 o'clock. And if you think of like 4 hour power 3, 1 hour power 3, right as we open, we just manipulated up. So that was a indication to look for shorts. And then we formed daily cycle and 90-minute. We didn't form a 15-minute swing divergence until later, but we formed the 5-minute swing divergence, which gave me the chance to drop down to the 1 minute. And then you could look for a short within here. I just didn't feel like it was that clear. And I mean, usually, this is Asia session, which you probably don't trade it that much, or anyone watching this actually. But in New York, the moves are going to be a lot more cleaner. But this was a little bit more choppier, so I waited for a 1 minute SMTF, which got tapped here, and then I got a late 15-second CISD entry. But then we consolidated a bit, and then we formed a 15-minute swing divergence here, and then a 1 minute swing divergence with this large wick right here. So then after that, we formed a 15-second, which is where you could take another possible entry. Oh, and this was with a 5-minute SMTF. So ES made it actually. Where is it? Where did it get tapped? I think ES tapped it, yeah, right here. So at 18:30, ES tapped it, which is why I just kind of drew it out on NQ because I chart on there. So we tapped that, and then I just trailed my stop loss there. And then obviously the RR was pretty high. And then just once we took this internal low, I went break even and kind of just let the trade play out. And then I did eventually get stopped out with this wick, but on MNQ, which was fine, right? This is a great trade, but it is still Asia session, which usually accumulates, so it wasn't really a big deal to me. But overall, the confluences, the draw, like look at all this low resistance liquidity. You look on the 15-minute at this range, not one 15-minute gap. So that's something else to keep in mind, is when you look at targets and stuff like that, look at all this. All this is low resistance liquidity, no gaps, just a bunch of large wicks basically. And then let's go on the 15-minute and fast forward here. So then kind of price just started chopping around basically, so I wasn't really too interested. We got this move here, but there was The reason why I didn't take anything here was because there was weekly cycles, so ES's previous day high was here, but on like the hourly time frame, there was no hourly cracking correlation like a swing divergence or PSP, which kind of confirms it. I mean, we have this PSP forming here, but and then I was gonna either wait for this closure or wait for the 1 hour CISD, but I don't think you didn't even get the CISD, and I was watching for 90-minute within here, but nothing was really that clean, and like we had this like 5-minute swing divergence here, so then I was going to look for continuation, but we just ran through it. So I knew from then on that previous week high was the draw, and I wasn't going to take a short. How much time are we at here? 5 minutes, that's good. I wasn't going to take a short until previous week high was hit, since that was ultimately the draw. And the fact that we engineered liquidity there again to make high resistance. So I waited until that got hit. It actually took a while, but there. So it got hit there, and this is what ended up happening. So we had that weekly cycle from earlier, which was this white line, which got hit here. But then we formed monthly cycles. So monthly cycle is correlated with the 4-hour time frame, and weekly cycle is formed with the hourly. So I was watching for that. However, we did create lower time frame sequential SMT, which was 90-minute and microcycle. And let's see here. I think we had a 1-minute cracking correlation. Not a okay, so there was no 5-minute. Well, there was this PSV and then down close candle closure, but we created the CISD. I was trying to get an entry within here on these gaps, but we just kept going and going, and we were drawing closer to this line here. Just leave that there. So I was just still waiting and trying to be patient, which is very important, and I was pretty doubtful that I'd get an entry. I thought we'd just continue going lower, and then we started consolidating. Yeah, nothing high probability. You can see these wicks in here. I was looking for a trade within here potentially, just off this continuation here, but this type of candle movement right here wasn't looking too good, so I stayed out, waited for price a little bit more, and then this ended up happening. I think I might have taken a short off of this, but gotten break even. I'm not too sure. I don't think so. I think I was waiting for continuation. Maybe I did take a short in here. Yeah, but it was this Asia session or London session was really hard to trade because, I mean, look at this volatility. I'm gonna pause recording and check my executions on Discord. Yeah, so I did take a trade here, although I didn't have it marked out. Yeah, right in here. So I believe, yeah, it was microcycle with this high, and then we had a 1-minute swing divergence right here, and then a 15-second CISD, so I entered there, and then this was obviously a 5-minute gap. I think a 5, yeah, which I was just keeping in mind. It's not a big deal. PD rates don't matter as much. So then I entered there, went break even at the internal low, just targeting this low. But honestly, any other session or like where the conditions are better, this likely would have just hit and ran here. But I forget what random volatility happened, if it was news or just super random. But here, I mean, you can even look. It's my execution, and then this is the 1 second time frame. It was really weird. Then let's fast forward. And then here, I think this was became a 15-minute gap. Yeah, it became a 15-minute gap, so can kind of use that with the 1-minute time frame. And then we formed microcycle again with a swing divergence, and then I think a 15-second. So then I entered there. Price was a little choppy, and then right here we formed another swing divergence. Let's look at the video real quick. We formed another swing divergence, so I trailed my stop there. So this is a protected high, right? But in terms of like risk to reward and stuff like that, when I saw that we had a swing divergence, formed another 15-second CISD and displaced a lot, especially after this candle, then like if we were gonna come back up and take this high, we'd likely just take this one. So that was just managing risk on my part. So obviously that made the R better, kind of like the last Asia trade, Asia session. And this was probably a data low or some important low. Because I was pretty high risk on my eval, I took a partial here just a little bit. I think I was like 2 or 20 micros. It just took like 5 off right here. Or 10, I forget what it was. But just to secure some profit. So let's fast forward there. Just in case some random stuff happened. Like, honestly, there was no reason to partial here. Usually when a partial, when there's like signs that it could reverse, price could reverse, but there's no sequential SMT at lows. We have sequential SMT at high, like 4 stage, I think. Yeah, probably technically 5 stage because microcycle doubling, but there was no reason, just to secure profits in case some stuff like this happened, or the Asia session, that trade that I took earlier where there was just a random injection of volatility. So then I partialed there, and this is the best trade of the night, I think. I mean, this was a good trade too. It just got break even, and that's fine. You should always, Fearing says you should allow always like 2 to 3 attempts, because I mean I could have gotten stopped out here, and then another stop rate, another 15-second, and then entered. And then what I was watching for was ES was close to creating daily cycle at the lows, so I was looking to get out around there, or this low, and I got out actually right here, because since ES and NQ keep creating like edging the highs and lows like it did here. Like look, I got break even on this, stop rate, and then edge low again. I was just cautious of that and the fact that we took this internal low, which was my target. I just closed there because I mean I only needed till this low to pass the eval. So then I closed there, and I mean that was that trade. That was kind of like my thought process and everything. And then I took another continuation. I waited a bit. Let's fast forward here. So price is still consolidating right now. I think we're in like maybe a 5-minute gap with ES and YM. YM's making a move higher. So I'm overall really cautious right now. And then yeah, I ended up kind of missing this. It wasn't a big deal, but I wasn't really paying attention to the 1-minute swing divergence. I took note of the or sorry, I actually missed the microcycle here after this big displacement, because we were still consolidating. Then let's see here. Then price took the internal low on NQ. I don't think, yeah, and then we edged the daily cycle low one last time, so I was still very cautious. And then we formed a 1-minute swing divergence. So this is just structure. Like this trade right here, this is just playing with structure. This one was more high quality. But I mean, with QT, you can take so many entries. And then I believe this was the continuation I took for the eval. Yeah, I ended up taking this. I just went break even once ES took this low, and we formed some displacement, and then I was just targeting this internal low right here, which was the one I wanted the whole night, because all this low resistance built up. This one right here, sorry. And then we edged the low, creating more low resistance. But yeah. Boom. This was definitely a lower quality setup, like I said, so this isn't really anything you should pay attention to. I only really took this because I was like $500 from passing the eval, so I figured, why not. Yeah, I think, no, I got break even on this. Yeah, this is why you don't really need to pay attention to this, but I took this short, obviously went break even once ES took that low, targeted here, got break even, and then I think I re-entered. Let me check. 315. I'm so lost. Like 320ish, I took the short. So yeah, I have re-entered here. And let's see, yeah, 5-minute SMTF. We had this nice wick here at 320. It came up, and then we came right back down. So I knew it was just a continuation for structure like it had been here, 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 here. So yeah, not ideal. You usually just want to see price like in New York or London, just go to a target like this and then just come straight down to it. But obviously it wasn't as clean tonight. And then yeah, those were the trades that I took. Overall, if I were to study any trade or trades tonight, it'd be this one in here, like looking for an entry right here. I don't think we had a 1-minute Kraken correlation right here, which is why I didn't take it. But we did have a 1-minute CISD, so you easily could have just boom. If you wanted something more simple, have your stop loss at a protected high. You would have gotten edged of getting break even here, but still another opportunity to re-enter, which was what I did. So yeah, I think that's a good recap. And then obviously my bias was right, and we ended up just dumping. So we might hit previous week low in like Asia or London. So that's maybe something I'd look for to take. But we'll see. Because looking at this 15-minute, it doesn't look too good or clean. But yeah, hopefully that was enough. But that was long, 18 minutes.